Okay, I'm going to call this City Council regular meeting to order of July 9th, 2024. Welcome and thanks to all of you who are attending and those who are joining us online. If you would, please stand for the invocation and pledge of allegiance led by Mayor Pro Tem McPhee.
It is your custom to bow. Please join us in prayer. Father God, you are the builder of all things. Help us come with effective strategies that can enable us to move forward as a team in a meaningful way. Guide us toward the best way to take action to accomplish your goals. Help us to tackle all the topics we need to discuss and derive excellent solutions. All of this we pray in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, tonight marks the first City Council meeting using our new standard operating procedures. We passed those last month. And for those of you who join us on a regular basis, you will notice some changes to our process and also the format of our agenda. And I'd like to take a moment just to highlight some of these changes. Please note there are now two public comment sections. One's at the beginning of the agenda and one's at the end. At the beginning of the agenda, this public comment period is for items that are only on tonight's agenda. This is an opportunity to state any concerns or thoughts that you may have about the agenda items prior to council's discussion of those items. This is a time for comment, not for debate or dialogue. Each speaker will be allowed 5 minutes to speak. Please keep your comments to the agenda items only and be mindful of the time limit. And myself or the clerk will raise your hand when you have 1 minute left, and then I will let you know when your 5 minutes are up. This will be the time to comment on agenda items. Public comment will not be called for during discussion of individual agenda items as we have in the past, except in cases where an agenda item requires a public hearing. Also note that our agenda now includes a consent agenda section. Each item in the consent agenda has supporting documentation in the agenda packet, and these items are generally routine and non-controversial in nature. Members of council may ask for one or more matters to be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda for discussion if they have a concern with any item. Otherwise, members of council may only ask for clarification of minor points or comment on specific consent agenda items after a motion and a second has been conducted. And then the discussion will be opened. Near the end of the agenda is another public comment period for any matters of public concern, mainly items that are not on the agenda. This is an opportunity to make comments or ask questions before council about any matters of public concern. Like the first public comment period, this is also not a time for debate or dialogue, and you will have the same limit of 5 minutes for that comment period as well. Please bear with us as we adjust to these new procedures, and feel free to provide constructive feedback during comment periods or to city staff after the meeting. Thank you for your patience and cooperation. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and open public comment for agenda items. We have a sign-in sheet, and those people who have signed in get priority. If you haven't signed up, please do so immediately if you wish to speak. Ms. Golden, you have the list? Okay.
That's okay.
Oh, this is non-agenda? Okay. Okay, first up for public comment is Josh Gibson. Oh, non-agenda? Oh, I'm sorry. Non-agenda, okay. Well, I didn't see, I didn't see the X in the right column there. All right, Mr. Paul Trask, 610 Bladen Street.
Right, thank you. 610 Bladen Street. I'm speaking as an individual citizen, not as a member of the planning commission or representing any business or other member of my family. Couple of comments. I wanted to congratulate the Public Works Director, Mr. Farrow. I read his report and I understand that each of the accomplishments listed was in the month of May. So that was a lengthy list of things done. So I'm glad to see that. It sounds like the Public Works Department is functioning well. Number two, the finance director has now submitted what I think is a new report called the balance sheet. Says balance sheet. Maybe it always did, but I don't think so. And I appreciate that because I have spoken to you previously about the need for citizens to be able to understand how much money the city of Beaufort has on hand. And I know that it's difficult. Our fiscal year is what, June 30, and so taxes don't come in
It's July 1st, is that?
July 1st. Okay. So our taxes don't come in, but until January, February, and so forth. And so perhaps it's not an actual balance sheet, but I appreciate the effort to provide some clarity on this issue. And I hope that we can arrive at a point where in the budget process, there's an estimate perhaps. At the annual strategic planning session, this can be discussed further. But I'm glad to see a balance sheet, and I think the citizens of our community would like to understand how much uncommitted cash the city has. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trask. Next, we have Graham Trask, 1211 Bay Street.
11 Main Street. I own a house there. I was wondering if, I wanted to make a comment on the City Commerce Park and as related to assets that the city owns. And I was just wondering if they could put up that graphic that shows the map of the City Commerce Park, if that's quick. If not, it's not a big deal.
I don't know if we have it available, do we?
I just saw it on there a couple minutes ago.
Was it?
It was just there.
What was it? I didn't see it.
If it's easy, if it's not,
Oh, yeah, it's up in the corner. Okay, I
Yep.
see it.
Page 162.
there it is.
That what
Yeah.
you're speaking to?
So, yes.
Okay.
I know you're going to talk about this later. Sorry. I know you're going to talk about this later, and I'm glad that there is some movement on a contract. I do believe, although I haven't heard it or I didn't see it in the packet, that this contract will be heavily subsidized either by the city through the purchase agreement, which is $5,000, a payment of $5,000 a year until the spec building is sold. It's not that the spec buyer is buying the land outright as they normally would do in a arm's length transaction. I also suspect that the Beaufort County Economic Development Corporation, or whatever it's called, will be subsidizing the risk on this project. And I just wanted to highlight that the City Commerce Park was purchased in 2012. That's 12 years ago. And this map shows how much is vacant, which is a lot. And I'm not saying this to chastise the city, but as a burning platform to say the city has other City Commerce Parks, equivalent assets. It has the City Commerce Park, it has 500 Carteret, it has the Boys and Girls Club, it has the old coffee lot. And I implore the city council to instruct the city manager and the assistant city manager to do an analysis of the benefits of those assets. It came up at the strategic meeting. I brought it up. And it's now been 5 months or so, 6 months, and nothing has happened, as far as I'm aware. Maybe something has happened that I'm not aware of. But I would implore city council to instruct the city manager to do that analysis and soon, so that some decisions can be made on these assets, because they can unlock a lot of value for our citizens, our taxpayers, who themselves are struggling to make ends meet and live in a city which you guys have identified is not affordable. But yet the city owns all these assets, which are just sitting there and could create cash. So while I commend that there is movement on this particular lot, it still draws questions as to why the city should be in this business at all. And also some of the other businesses that the city is in. And again, I implore the city manager to do that analysis and then leave these sorts of things to the private sector, which is where they should be. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Trask. Okay. That's the end of public comment on agenda items, unless there's anyone else out there that has something to say. Okay. All right, next on the agenda is the meeting agenda approval. This is a time for council members and city manager to withdraw one or more items or move items on the agenda. Does anyone have anything they want to remove or move? Hearing none, I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the
And a
consent
second.
agenda.
Second.
Okay. Thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next, we move the consent agenda. As you can see, all these items on there need a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Second.
All right. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next, we move to proclamations, commendations, and recognitions. We have several people who are being recognized for their service on various boards and commissions. And I'm going to read them all out briefly, and then I'm going to ask for a motion and a second to approve all together. First is a resolution recognizing Michelle Prentice for her service on the Historic District Review Board. There's a resolution recognizing Victoria Bergeson for her service on the Park and Tree Advisory Commission. A resolution recognizing Gordon Fritz for his service on the Park and Tree Advisory Commission. A resolution recognizing Brad Hill for his service on the Park and Tree Advisory Commission. A resolution recognizing Henry Brandt for his service on the Tourism Development Advisory Committee. And also a resolution recognizing Mickey Minnick for his service on the Tourism Development Advisory Committee. Do I have a motion
So move.
to accept the resolution?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next, we have a proclamation proclaiming July 27th through August 4th, 2024 as Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week. Would Mayor Pro Tem Mike McPhee please read that proclamation?
If I can find it.
Motion to approve.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Oh, I don't have it right.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Read it
Okay.
first.
Yeah.
And Queen Quet, if you would come forward.
It might be at the end of the meeting with comment sections. Can I have your copy?
This is the only copy.
No. Oh, you don't have that. We have 148 pages, so I'm sorry. No excuse. I don't have the resolution. You want me to read something? Get it for me.
It's on page 119.
Thank you very much. Whereas, my apologies. It's a big packet. Queen Quet and Kwame Shah formed the Gullah Geechee Nation International Music and Movement Festival in 2005 on St. Helena, and this celebration is a living legacy of the Gullah Geechee history, heritage, and culture come about due to the work of St. Helena native Quinquet, chiefess of the Gullah Geechee Nation. And whereas Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week began in 2012, and as a show of our support, we are calling on all citizens and visitors to Beaufort to take part in the activity that are associated with these events, which are part of the global activities of the United Nations International Decade of People of African Descent. And whereas the city of Beaufort acknowledges the native people of the Gullah Geechee Nation from Jacksonville, North Carolina to Jacksonville, Florida, throughout Sea Islands and Low Country, and support the honoring of their ancestors that built this region. And whereas we support the continuation of the Gullah Geechee cultural heritage and sustainability of the Gullah Geechee Nation. Now therefore, the City Council of the City of Beaufort hereby proclaim July 27th through August 4th, 2024 as Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week, and call upon all of our citizens to celebrate Gullah Geechee Nation under the theme Gullah Geechee, taking a stand and healing the land. Trying. In witness thereof, I hereby put the seal on it, Mayor Cromer. I trying. She's tried to give me lessons for years, so.
Good evening, everybody. Glad you for there one more again. You did good this evening. You
Thank
crack
you.
your teeth well,
Thank
so
you, even slow as I am.
it's all right.
Thank
It's
you.
all good.
Thank you.
So glad you for there one more again. So glad you for be back, especially with Robert Smalls right here in the building one more again. Councilman Mitchell and everybody here. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you to the Town Council one more again on behalf of the Gullah Geechee Nation. Glad you for there one more time. And then go across the bridge with no traffic this evening. So that's been a blessing. And the bridge is still closed for me to get across fast. And so I hope so that same thing that's going on Saturday, July the 27th, so all 100 children from this your town can come across to St. Helena and things like that. And we to launch Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week one more again this year at the Penn School and things like that. So for all of you who on the record cannot understand Gullah, and I don't want your transcription to have it wrong, on Saturday, July the 27th at noon at Penn, what is now Penn Center, but it's historic Penn School. We would love it for all of you to join us. Come over from Beaufort. Hopefully the bridge will not catch you and keep you on this side because we are going to have a great time once again launching Gullah Geechee Nation Appreciation Week with Gullah Geechee Family Day starting on that day. And so it's a blessing to have the opportunity to have so many people come every year to our county now and celebrate with us. And we've had people come from around the world who wanted people to know, we kin to y'all, we gonna get you too, and things like that. Even people come from Jamaica, they say, you know, we is part of, you know, I say, I know this, you know. And so definitely we expect the same and even greater. And for all the Black bikers, we are going to have a contest. So we want folks to even ride their motorcycles out because we are going to see who has the best club, the best bikes and everything. And you know we have the best food over on St. Helena. So we're going to have that. So if you want some, you better get there early because I can't promise you that it'll still be any around by 2:30 in the afternoon when we end at 3. But thank you once again to the City of Beaufort for continuing to be a part of this national celebration in the Gullah Geechee Nation. Peace, love, and blessings.
Thank you.
What time does it start? Mr. Mayor, what time does it start on the 27th? Noon. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have a proclamation proclaiming August 19th through 2024 as USCB Sand Shark Week.
Move the proclamation be accepted.
Second.
Okay, is there someone here from the,
And if it's done,
okay?
I'll stand up.
We all in favor of this proclamation?
All in
Say
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Whereas the University of South Carolina Beaufort is a fully accredited comprehensive baccalaureate institution within the University of South Carolina, and whereas USCB provides specialized institution in 20 undergraduate degree programs and 2 graduate degrees to fulfill its mission to respond to regional needs, draw upon regional strengths, and prepare graduates to contribute locally, nationally, and internationally. USCB is a primary regional resource for exceptionally skilled healthcare professionals, teachers, hospitality managers, science-based researchers, and computational troubleshooters in the South Carolina Low Country. And the University of South Carolina Beaufort has a reputation for institutional prominence as a regional problem solver, catalyst for progress, and an engine for economic growth. And whereas reports indicate the USCB's regional economic impact is in excess of 1,066 jobs, 50.5 million in additional wage and salary income, 122.4 million in economic output, and 1.6 million in net government revenues. Whereas this week, USCB welcomes more than 2,100 students, their parents, other family members, and friends to campuses in Bluffton, Beaufort, and Hilton Head Island, and to athletic facilities in Hardyville for the start of the 2024-2025 academic year. Now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Beaufort, South Carolina hereby proclaim the week of August 19th through the 24th, 2024 as USCB Sandshark Welcome Week. In witness thereof, I hereto set my hand and seal this day of the 9th day of July, 2024. Philip Cromer, Mayor.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the faculty, staff, and students of the University of South Carolina, Beaufort, we appreciate the City of Beaufort for this USCB Sandshark Week proclamation. This week marks the addition of new members to our community who will have the chance to fall in love with the City of Beaufort the way we all have. The City of Beaufort is vital to the success of our students, and we hope the university adds as much value to the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go Sand Sharks.
Okay, next on the agenda is minutes of work session of June 18th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, any clarifications or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, I'm abstaining as I was absent.
Okay, duly noted. Okay, next is the minutes for work session and regular meeting of June 25th, 2024.
So moved. Second.
Okay, any clarifications or corrections? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next is old business and ordinance to amend fiscal year 2024 budget for revenues and expenditures of general fund, ARPA fund, Parks and Tourism Fund, State Accommodation Tax Fund, TIF 2 Fund, Stormwater Fund, and Capital Projects Fund. Second and final reading.
Motion to approve.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Well, we'll
Aye.
have discussion first, so.
Okay.
Alan, you
Yeah,
want
I can
give us a
mention that.
Presentation.
And good evening, Mayor and Council. This is, the city was committed to identifying fundings for emerging capital needs with the fiscal year 2024. But some of these projects have been delayed in getting started and will need funding moved to fiscal year 25 to continue progress in these projects. Therefore, for fiscal year 24, we're going to propose a budget amendment that de-obligates the following projects. The Barry Shores Drainage Project for engineering services for $30,000. The Pigeon Point Playground Equipment for $400,000. The City Hall Security Improvements for $100,000. Carnegie Building Roof Improvements for $215,585. The Spanish Moss Trail Sidewalk Extension for North Street for $30,000. And finally, the 500 Carteret Street window replacement and exterior stucco repair for $100,000. And this is second reading.
Okay. Any discussion, comments? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
For clarification, this was moving the funds over and then we had the adjustments to follow, right?
Yeah, that's going to be the next item on the
Gotcha.
agenda.
Yep. In
Okay.
favor.
All right. B is an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2025 budget for revenues and expenditures of general fund, ARPA fund, Parks and Tourism Fund, State Accommodation Tax Fund, TIF 2 Fund, Stormwater Fund, and Capital Projects Fund. Second and final reading.
So moved.
Second, you have a second?
Second.
Okay. Alan?
Okay, yes, this is for fiscal year 25 budget amendment. These are for their, as aforementioned, capital projects. So we'll begin a Barry Shores Drainage Project for engineering services for $40,000 from the ARPA fund. The Pigeon Point Playground Equipment for $500,000 with $300,000 from ARPA funds, $100,000 from Parks and Tourism Fund, $100,000 from the Capital Project Fund. The City Hall Security Improvements for $100,000 from TIF 2 Fund. The Carnegie Building Roof Improvements for $395,520. with 382,320 from the ARPA fund and 13,200 from the capital project fund. The Spanish Moss Trail Sidewalk Extension North Street, 30,000 from a state accommodation tax fund. The 500 Carteret Street window replacement and stucco repair for $100,000 from the ARPA fund. And then finally, the Pigeon Point Drainage Study Local Grant Match. This was part of our fiscal year 25 budget from the ARPA fund, but we found out with the grant, we had to use local funds. So we're going to move that with the stormwater fund of 54,000 for our local match for this FEMA grant. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about this fiscal year 25 budget amendment.
Okay, any discussion?
Um,
Okay.
Yeah. I have a
Councilman
discussion on
Sladey?
item 4, the Carnegie Building roof improvements. So last time when we had first reading, I was struggling with this one. I made a motion failed. And to be honest, I'm still struggling with it because, for clarification, we have not received a bid back. The most latest bid where we separated the two, the exterior portion, which is the roof, and the interior portion, and sent that out for bid. We have not received that back yet, correct?
Hasn't been bidded out. Yeah, that's,
Okay.
we're still working on that.
So it hasn't been bidded out. So this is my concern is here in a public meeting, we are allocating additional funds to this project, which we don't have a bid back for. I think we erode any opportunity to have a bid that's lower than the amount that we approved tonight. So if we go ahead and approve 395,000, if I'm a contractor that's going to make a bid on this in 2 months, I can look back at this and say, well, I know that they're willing to pay 395. I'm just going to start there. So that's one of my concerns, in addition to the fact that I don't know that it's prudent for us to spend that much on the roof. But regardless, I'm going to make another motion. I move to amend item 4, the Carnegie Building roof improvements, by allocating 250,000 from ARPA funds and 13,200 from the capital projects fund, totaling $263,200.
Do I have a second? Hearing none, the motion fails. And I appreciate, Councilman Scaletti, what you're doing there. I agree that I don't like them seeing that figure out there myself, but, yeah, we have to, everything we've gotten bid so far has come in higher, so this is just allocating the money. We don't have to spend it, obviously, but hopefully it'll come in less.
I think we do now.
No, sir, you do not. This is a budget amendment. We still
Not
have to
spending.
approve the final project.
Right, I just don't understand why we would do that now, opposed to waiting until we've never sent the bid out separate. So why would we not wait to get that, to see what it looks like, and then we can make adjustments that we need? I don't understand the benefit for us to do that upfront, opposed to waiting until we get that bid back. We already have funds set aside for that project, so that's covered. And yes, the current bids that we have received have exceeded the amount that we have allocated, but we've never separated them until now. So I hate that it failed, but that's the process.
Understand?
Okay. All right, I have to vote. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Now all opposed?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Under new business, we have a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with HDL Companies, North Carolina, for the provision of services related to business licensure.
Motion to approve.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay.
All right, yeah, you may remember our last work session meeting, we had Bobby Monroe with HDL Companies gave a presentation to council about some business license revenues that we may not are not currently receiving. And so this is an opportunity for us to enter a formal agreement with HDL. You'll see included in your packet is the resolution along with the agreement that we'll have in place with them. Happy to answer questions you may have.
Okay, any questions?
I do. Oh, sorry.
My only concern is that it might affect mom and pops, but they said stores, but they said it will have no effect on it. So with that being established, I will, be in favor of it.
I think, Mr. Monroe mentioned they usually go after large.
That's what I
entities.
asked him, whether or not it was the mom and pop stores, and I was a little worried about.
Yeah, it's more larger businesses.
Councilman
So-
Scaletti?
Here's a question I have, because at the last time when we talked about this, we didn't have the agreement in front of us. And so reading through this, there's two portions of the South Carolina code that are referenced, SC Code 6-1-420 and SC Code 6-1-410. Specifically related to SC Code 6-1-410, here in this agreement, it says, and this is in paragraph 5, about halfway down, it says, if the business does not appeal the proposed assessment within 30 days or pays the applicable taxes, the amount set forth in paragraph 4 shall be due and owing to HDL. Period. If a business appeals the proposed assessment, then all efforts by HDL shall cease until the final adjudication of the applicable appeal. So my question would be, do we have a plan in place for that appeal? Because it seems like all efforts from HDL would cease at that time, but if you read the state statute where that's referenced, it says, within 30 days after the date of postmark or personal service, a taxpayer may request in writing with reasons stated an adjustment of the assessment. Period. An informal conference between the taxing jurisdiction, business license official, and the taxpayer must be held within 15 days of the receipt of the request, at which time the taxpayer may present any information or documents in support of the requested adjustment. Within 5 days after the conference, the taxing jurisdiction business license official shall issue a notice of final assessment. So I guess my question is if, say, they find somebody who has not paid their business license and that business owner appeals that and HDL steps away from the process at that point, does the city have something in place to follow up with them within the 15 days to have that conversation with the taxpayer? And then should the appeal move past that, it looked like there would be and I can't find it right now. Oh, the appeal must be heard and determined by the taxing jurisdiction council or its designated appeals officer or appeals board. What would that process look like?
Yeah, if I understand the question, I think the appeal process will go through our business license administrator. They would look at that and kind of determine that on behalf of the city.
Okay.
Uh,
And we're prepared to meet with the taxpayer within the 15 days, should they appeal, understanding that HDL is going to basically step away from the process at that point.
Yeah, the city will
Okay.
kind of take over from there and
I just didn't
all
see
that.
that captured in the agreement because it talks about the 30 days, but then it doesn't have the back end there. So I wanted to make sure that we were clear on what our responsibilities would be should that happen. And that's it.
I have a question.
Okay, Councilman Mitchell?
I left the meeting when HDL made a presentation with the assumption that there's no way that the city could be held liable for anything. It's kind of like there's no way we could lose because HDL was taking on all the responsibilities. And following up to Josh's question, can you foresee a situation where the city, we could be held liable for some sort of legal matter that didn't go the way HDL led me to believe?
I cannot foresee that. I know HDL mentioned how a lot of these entities, once they find out about this, they're pretty compliant and kind of go through that process. I don't think I can't foresee us being liable for that.
Okay, thanks.
I guess, and I mean, this company, it sounds like they have a lot of clients and they've been doing this for a while. But there is a clause in the state statute, the section 6-1-420, that says if a business requests in writing that the third party cease communication with the business, then the third party is strictly prohibited from any further contact. So I don't know what the city's liability would be should they continue to try to communicate to that business owner. But to Councilman Mitchell's point, that could be a concern if they were to continue trying to communicate, but it sounds like they've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, we would make sure that that communication stops, that they're not going to keep on following up with them. The city will contact it from there.
Okay, any more comments? Okay, hearing none, call for the question. All in favor of the authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with HDL Companies, North Carolina for the provision of services related to business licensure? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is an ordinance approving the sale of real property located in the Beaufort Commerce Park and owned by the city of Beaufort, South Carolina to Dolnick Properties LLC. First reading. City manager?
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a second?
And a second.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is an ordinance to approve a purchase and sale agreement primarily for the purpose of the construction of a spec building by Dolnick Properties LLC. The summary of the spec building is 72,000 square feet. It realizes approximately $8.5 million investment in construction costs, and the building would be dividable into 8,000 square foot units. The summary of the proposed purchase agreement: a purchase price of $40,000 per upland acre. $5,000 per upland acre will be paid to the city upon issuance of a certificate of occupancy once the building is constructed. $5,000 per upland acre will be paid to the city upon each anniversary of the certificate of occupancy until the purchase price is paid in full. Dolnick has a 90-day inspection period from the effective date of the agreement. They have the right to terminate the agreement if the property is found unsuitable during the inspection period. The closing of the transaction shall be held on the later of either 30 days after the expiration of the inspection period or the date that Dolnick has permits and approvals to begin construction. Mr. Trask is absolutely correct. This is a project that is sponsored by partly the Beaufort County Economic Development Corp. To that end, Mr. John O'Toole, the executive director of that body, is with us this evening. Thank you for joining us, John. If you have any particular questions regarding their involvement, I'm sure he'll be happy to answer those. This is presented to you, you will note in your staff report, in absence of the plat from Exhibit B of the purchase agreement. That's because the survey was conducted this morning. And when the survey was conducted this morning, it revealed not 5.5 upland acres, but 4.53 upland acres. So I would recommend to council that someone make a motion to amend the agreement to reflect 4.53 upland acres versus 5.5 acres before considering a motion for the ordinance.
Okay, somebody want to make that motion? To amend?
Make a motion to amend.
You got it?
Yeah, I don't know the exact
4.53.
4.53 acres,
4.53 upland
upland
acres.
acres.
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now, go back to the original question. All in favor of the ordinance approving the sale of this property located in the Beaufort Commerce Park and owned by the city of Beaufort to Dolnick Properties LLC, signify by saying aye.
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 Okay. Concludes that. Now we are up for public comment on any items that are not on the agenda. I have two people who have signed up for non-agenda, first being Josh Gibson, 709. Oh, Mr. Cahill, okay. Okay. Mr. Cahill? I know you signed up early on, so. Yep.
Rare obedience. So I prepared remarks to submit to Tracy. I'm gonna go off script to start with. Scott Thank you for your radical proposal of changes for this new meeting format. I'm a fan. Thank you so much. Thank you for adopting it, council. Again, I'm Rob Cahill, 608 Water Street. I'd like to make 3 prefatory comments before I offer my ideas. I'm going to read, which is not my nature. Number 1, in the last 55 years of my work life, I worked at the highest levels of corporate America, the Episcopal Church, and the federal government. 10 years as a political appointee for the US EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. I've had the privilege to work with some of the most brilliant, remarkable, and exceptional people imaginable. As such, it pains me to no end when people who should know better demean and speak condescendingly of elected officials and public servants. Concomitantly, it pains me equally to no end when public officials, by their actions and inactions, give taxpaying citizens reason to perpetuate the pejorative stereotype they often have of bureaucrats. I believe it's your actions and your performance during these challenging times that will make the most meaningful difference, not words, platitudes, and campaign slogans. As such, I'd like to identify 3 actions for your consideration. 1, conduct what I call an entrance interview. It's kind of a play on words of the exit interviews popular in corporate America. Who with new small businesses and principles of residential actions. The purpose would be to help identify what it did well, the city and the principles, and to identify flaws in its communications and processes. Why? So the city can get specific actionable insights that they can use to improve that process in the future. Second, after such analysis, consider opening a citizen and small business advocate office or position, which would be a single point of contact to help all new small businesses and residents weave their way through the hurdles, the labyrinth and maze of requisite codes and regulations that sadly all too often are ill-defined until you confront them. All at once, not in series. Now, this is not in my notes, but you could even call this an escort service. So a historical footnote, when I was at EPA in the 80s, there were leaking underground storage tanks, gas stations. If those that were around would recall that. So those of us young Turks, we decided, we tried to make a play, call these LUST, for leaking underground storage tank. But we didn't make it very far because the senior people were too politically correct. They didn't want to have the ridicule or the risk ridicule of the press and this, but we were thinking like, you got free publicity. Who cannot be in favor of LUST, right? It's now UST, underground storage tanks. So that's a sidebar. Third is to establish an explicit code of conduct for all boards and commissions, publicize it, and require all appointees to sign it, including mayor, yourself, and the councilman. Some examples could include treat all citizens with dignity and respect. Seek first to understand before being understood. Now, I'm not going to design it for you, but these are the elements that go into a code of conduct. And last, I'd like to express my thanks and appreciation to you, Mayor Cromer, Councilman Mitch, Mike, Neil, and Josh for treating me, since I started getting engaged in January, with dignity and respect. So thank you. And since I'm on a roll, Scott, I'm going to give you a kudo. JJ, same for you. Members of staff, Tracy. Ellen, you get it. And just this last week, Kurt. It's been a delight. And Linda Roper, who is not here, and Jay Phillips is not
He's
He's
here.
behind
Linda's
you.
back behind you.
He's behind you.
Mea culpa. Thank you, Linda. And I mean, if we just did a little bit more civility, I think that would go a long way. So that's my 3 cents, and thank you for listening.
Appreciate it. Okay, next up is Josh Gibson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to say before I get started, from having watched the
Excuse
work
me, Josh.
session at home,
You can give us your address.
I'm sorry, 709 Duke Street. from watching the work session at home, we've got some microphone work to do. You cannot hear in a work session the flowing conversation. I mean, when Mr. Trask came up here and spoke earlier, there was minutes of silence while somebody was responding to him. Nobody knows what got said, who was watching. And if we're going to count these Facebook videos as some sort of public record at all, then we've got to do a better job of getting these things documented, because the documentation is incomplete of these meetings. I want to talk to you about secrecy today, and in the interest of full disclosure, it would be a bit hypocritical of me to not say that I filed to run for city council today. So in the interest of my absolute disclosure, I will tell you that and not pretend like I didn't. But I want to talk to you about what happened with the HDRB vote, which has been roundly criticized by every regional newspaper since it happened, I guess it was a month ago now. And I think that there's a lot of room for improvement to be made there. And I'm concerned about what's happened has happened, and the people have been set. I don't think it was done legally. I think there's a pretty strong legal precedent when the state Supreme Court ruled that you can't take votes in public meetings where you can't tell how people voted. And I think that it would be wise for the city council to lean into that instead of away from it, instead of hiding behind one lawyer's ruling that says maybe it's okay when a lot of others are saying it's not. If you wonder why we keep ending up in these situations when you look at your legal budget for the city, it's because we keep tiptoeing up to the line of what's legal and what we can get away with, and not what's in the interest of what our intention was of what we were supposed to be doing when we were participating in this process. So we've got this problem here. So we filed a FOIA request to get the information for the meetings from the vote, which we got the secret ballots from. And so we know how Mitch Mitchell voted. He voted for Mike Sutton and Kim Petrella, which is fine. That's completely reasonable thing to do. And then we have the other 4 votes for 4 of the members up here who we don't know who they are. So now we're in this weird situation where we know as voters how some of the city council members have voted, and we don't know how other ones have. The way to clean it up in the cleanest legal sense would be to go back, redo the thing, but you'd have to post 30 days. It would invalidate the votes of the previous things that the HDRB has been voting on in the meantime, and that would cause a problem that I think we all don't want to have. I think the cleanest solution for the citizens of the city is to just let people know how you voted, and let go of the secrecy, let go of the concern that the citizens are going to be exposed to information. They can handle it. It'll be fine. If it's an unpleasant conversation about why you're voting for somebody, that's fine too. These people are all volunteers. They all signed up for it. Nobody was dragged in here or drafted. And all of you volunteered to run for city council. So if you need to make a public decision about a public policy or appointing something to the board, it should be done in public. You can rationalize possibly, or get an attorney to tell you that you can get away with it to go into an executive session to do it, but you don't have to. You could have those discussions out in front of us right now, and everybody would be fine with it. It might be uncomfortable sometimes, but that's okay. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. That's why we have the rules set up the way they are. And I think it would be better if it was handled that way. So in that, the last thought that I have before I make my request is that the problem that we end up with when we end up with these things is that secrecy leads to speculation. And I can't tell you how many people I have talked to who have said, well, I think this person might have voted that way about that thing. Or that person, I know he doesn't like her or she doesn't like him. And it leads to this just chitter chatter when it could just be so simple and clear for everybody to see who you had voted for. So I would encourage you to do that. And I would encourage you all right now to just let us know who you nominated so we can all move on with our lives and have all the information that we need to about our city council members. I mean, like I said, we know how Mitch voted, and we've got the other votes here. I could speculate based on the style of circle that were put on the things, or somebody used a blue pen, somebody has squiggly circles. it's the same person. We just need to track down who it is. So if you could just tell us who you nominated, that would clear things up for everybody. And I think we could all move on from that unfortunate situation where we're getting so heavily criticized by lawyers and newspapers.
Yes, okay. I don't know how we handle something like this. I don't think we vote again in open, do we?
No, we don't have to. I'll,
Asking for, just for you.
I'll lean into this, if you don't want to, but,
Well.
so just for clarification, I think it is important to separate the nominations from the appointment. So
Sure.
what we did with the secret ballots, which I don't think was necessary, was determine who the nominees would be. And then the vote for who the appointments would be was done publicly. So that's recorded both in the video that was live streamed, but also it was captured in the minutes. So if you read through the minutes, you'd see that 4 members up here voted in favor of Kim Petrell and Mike Sutton, and 1 did not vote in favor.
I've read the minutes.
That was in the minutes, so you'd be able to tell who voted which way, because the consensus from the secret ballot that determined the nominations showed who the top 2 nominees were. And then at any point, any council member could have either voted against or opened up a discussion to talk about those nominees. But instead, there was a vote that was taking place and the appointments were made. So I think that from what I've read, and I've read all of the articles out there, what I've been able to gather is there wasn't a distinction between what was done with the secret ballot and what was done with a public vote. And so there is this perception, and that's why I would steer away from a secret ballot. But there is a perception that the appointments were made in secrecy, but the record does show that the vote was public. And while it is a fine line, I think that it is important to distinguish the difference in between what was done with secret ballot and what was done with a public vote.
Okay,
5 minutes.
so who did you vote for? Who did you nominate?
5 minutes is up.
Like I just said, the 4 of us voted in favor of.
You're not gonna answer the question.
But Josh, we're not getting involved in dialogue, and we got a 5-minute rule. That's under the new standard operating procedures, but I'll be glad to tell you after the meeting.
Why can't you tell the citizens, why can't we tell all of the citizens who you voted for? What is the point of running for public office if you're not willing to stand by your decisions?
That's what I'm telling you, though.
Not
Four
standing
four
by it.
members,
You're
4 members voted in favor of those
Listen to
2.
how long your answer was to my simple question. Who did you vote for? How long was your answer? Went on for about 3
it's
minutes.
recorded in the minutes that 4 voted in favor of the
Recorded
2
in the minutes.
nominees.
Is it recorded in the minutes that you took a secret nomination?
That is not in the minutes.
Why not?
But the voting record
No,
is in
why
the
not?
minutes. So your question is answered.
Why is it not in the
Gosh.
minutes that you took, why is it not in the minutes that you took a secret vote?
Josh, I'm gonna.
Y'all all signed off on the minutes.
No,
when this
hold
meeting
on, hold
started.
on. I'm at to blame for the secret ballot. And I'll take full responsibility. And I'll tell you why, because a lot of times I got phone calls and people said, okay, they're doing stuff in executive session behind closed doors. They're voting on people. They're coming out with an agenda and they're doing it. So I wanted to find a way to make it a little more outgoing. It didn't turn out to be the way it is. I shoulder full blame. We had what's the media guy's name?
Jay Bender.
Jay Bender, the lawyer for the media. He said what we did was perfectly legal. It may not be full disclosure, but I told the newspaper, I said, I would recommend we don't do that again.
Yeah,
So-
and that's my question. Why stop short of full disclosure? And the answer is we would prefer to stick with less than full disclosure. I've got my answer. Thank you.
Well, you know who I voted for.
I do. Well, I mean, I think so.
You do.
I mean, I see based on here that I'm guessing you voted for Maxine and Catherine.
Yes, I voted for
Okay, all
preservation.
right. So now we know,
Statement.
2 out of the 3 or 2 out of the 5.
Okay, well, we're not on trial here, but I get it, okay?
It's a closed issue. It's a closed
Should
issue.
have gone into law, Josh.
That's fine. All right. Thanks for your disclosure or lack thereof.
Okay, next we have Paul Trask.
Again, Paul Trask, 610 Bladen Street. I'm speaking as a private citizen, not as a member of the Planning Commission. Three things. Number one, I also appreciate the way this meeting is moved along. Thank you very much, Mr. City Manager. This is a refreshing change, I believe. So number two, our work session ended a little bit. That was a full work session. There wasn't any opportunity for public comment. This is an important issue, this transportation sales tax business. And so I'm a little bit distressed to hear about pots of money here, pots of money there. You know, our nation is awash in debt. So the point here is please spend taxpayer dollars wisely and frugally. That's my message. A work session is an absolute must, and it needs to be a work session, in my view, exclusively devoted to a conversation about, I don't know whether this thing's going to pass or not. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I have mixed feelings about it. I wish it, frankly, if it were going to pass, it was at a larger scale, because a lot of people coming into our community are funding much of this, but who knows what will happen. But if it does, you're correct. We need to be prepared to explain to the citizens of Beaufort, of the city of Beaufort, how this money might be spent if it comes. There are a number of questions. There are parts of this. It's not just the $10 million, I don't think. There are pathway projects. I don't know what the Rebo Road improvements means. I know that this council has essentially nixed Reimagine Rebo Road within the city limits of Beaufort. I don't know what Port Royal wants to do, but it's still here, $75 million.
It's not next.
Okay, so we're going to get to this in the work session. Sidewalks and multi-use pathways, well, we need some of that. We need to connect our fabulous Spanish Moss Trail into downtown Beaufort. It's been talked about for a long time. You know, the other big issue is parking. It's a big issue. What are we going to do about parking? Would $10 million build a parking garage? Wouldn't do it? Okay.
I think they run about 30,000 or more a
30
space.
million.
No, it's
30,000 a space, yeah.
Oh, 30.
30,000.
Well, it might
Okay.
build a something of a smaller one, but again, this is an issue for a work session to be discussed. And I'm going to say two things. I'm not a fan of any parallel road. The parallel road was a boondoggle from the beginning. A portion of it already exists behind the Chick-fil-A. No one parks there. No one drives back there. No one's going to use it to get from A to B. It's not going to relieve any congestion on Rebo Road, and neither will any further expansion of the so-called parallel road. That won't work. I am not in favor of a trolley system unless there's a study to support that it'll work. I want something that'll work, that'll actually function and be a benefit. So again, these are items for the upcoming work session. And the third thing I've got on my list, and I'm going to read to you because I'm going to give my notes to the city clerk. And this is a bit of an echo of what Josh Gibson just said. So I'm going to read this verbatim. There's a substantial error in the June 11th, 2024 City Council regular meeting minutes. At that meeting, council appointed Mike Sutton and Kim Petrella to 3-year terms on the Historic Review Board. Prior to the motion to appoint Sutton and Petrella, and before the vote, an unexpected and unusual secret ballot process was used to choose who was going to be nominated. It would be a distortion to say that the use of a secret ballot by the Beaufort City Council was normal or customary in any way. To illustrate, Andy Kinghorn, Ken Hoffman, Lee Sundria, Catherine Mixon, Shaitan Patel, and Jennifer Mader were all appointed to various positions prior to and in plain sight and without any secret ballot. Secret ballot has been the subject of local newspaper stories and even a recent article in the Charleston Post and Courier. The use of the secret ballot was not recorded in the June 11th minutes. Now, my notes say why. The mayor has graciously already explained why. Compounding the error, and I'm speaking of the error of the failure to include the secret ballot in the minutes. Compounding the error, the June 11th minutes were approved by council at the June 25th meeting. This is my request for council to cause the June 11th minutes to be corrected to reflect that council used the secret ballot process. I believe I speak for many when I say such a secret vote is not the Beaufort way of doing business, is opaque instead of transparent, and should never be used again. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Grand Press?
I apologize. I didn't realize I had to sign up to speak.
Just helps. It's really for who's first come, first served on this.
Okay, well, I'm learning. Number one, as in the last city council meeting, I made an offer to the city to do a matching gift, to hire infrastructure consulting and engineering. I very much appreciate Mr. Marshall responded, very quickly, clearly laid out the reasons of the potential conflict. But since I did make that offer and it's in the minutes, I would like to submit a copy of the response, so that would be reflected in the formal city records. That is one thing. The other thing I would like to do is also, I understand for the workshop, comments are not made part of the minutes, but I would also like to submit my comments that I previously made to you all in terms of this in the workshop. I would like to submit those in its entirety to the formal record. The third aspect, and maybe as you could tell from my comments, I'm struggling with a lot of the engineering aspects of this King Street project. And I'll disclose to you, probably 6 or 8 weeks ago, I approached on my own to hire myself, which was, reflected in the matching grant, six civil engineering firms. I'm not a civil engineer, but I do like to have it based what I say on the facts. They were all conflicted out because they had all done business with the city of Beaufort, or were in the portion of that. I understand that. And so, and I've not talked with infrastructure consulting and engineering about this, but and I'm not making a proposal tonight, but what I wanted to be open and transparent, I would like to approach, Mr. Marshall and JJ, and if the city would be willing to release infrastructure consulting and engineering from the conflict of interest policy, so they could work as a consultant for me. And what I'm looking at is I would pay for the entire cost. I need to determine, what it would cost, but I want to bring up appropriate, thoughtful questions concerning the project, but I'm not a civil engineer, so I do want to have that civil engineering background. So that's in the process. I can independently approach that, but I wanted to be transparent and let you know where, and this is not to challenge anything. I want to look at this as making a positive contribution, as I've always said, so the council will have different alternatives, valid alternatives, to consider. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ivy. Mr. Trask?
And Trask, 1211 Bay Street. Just a couple final thoughts, please. Trust is really important. And what Paul Trask brought up about the minutes and not having that in the minutes just reinforces the lack of trust that citizens have about you and about you. And it's unfortunate. And I think we can do better. In fact, I know we can do better. And the city finds itself over and over again in breaking laws or accused of breaking laws. And I implore you guys to really obey the laws and to build trust with us, because I can't get up here and I can't vote for a $1 billion sales tax because I don't want to give that money to the county because I don't trust them. And I don't think many people trust them. And that's not a good situation to have in our city or in our county. And just one last thing with Mr. Ivy's proposal. This is about trust. I think you need to release that particular company from the conflict so we can get some transparency from somebody who's going to pay for the study and educate themselves and then be able to come and present those findings to the city. If every firm is conflicted out, how do citizens get the information? So, thank you very much and happy.
Anyone else? Mr. O'Toole?
Good evening, Council. Mr. Mayor, thanks for allowing me to speak. I just wanted to provide a little bit of history on the Commerce Park, not speak to tonight's agenda. But the park was bought for $11,000 an acre in 2012. I arrived here just nearly 7 years ago. And one of your tenants, Walter Oliver, could attest to the fact that at the end of his workday, this is 2018, 2019, he'd have to go home to hit send on his emails because he didn't have Wi-Fi in the park. So many of the members here or on council and previous councils made efforts as I got here to make it a contemporary, viable business park. So I would say the clock really just started to tick in 2019 in terms of it being viable. In the next quarter, I expect $43 million of projects to break ground. And something I'd like to share with the council, when Councilmember McPhee was the interim acting mayor, not sure of the title, but he had requested us to provide an economic impact report. And we did receive one of those in January. I'd be happy to make it available to the public. I know the council has seen it. But during the capitalization stage, there'll be 129 jobs out there. Capital expenditures, 6.2 million at that point in time. And the project you mentioned tonight wasn't even in this calculation, and the annual output of that investment is 25.5. And what Clemson does is called the Regional Economic Analysis Lab. Rob Carey, they feed it into a REMI model and a Clemson economic model. But the output during just the build out stage is $25.5 million. During operations, the jobs created there will be 344. The multiplier effect of that, according to their model, is 1.45. So the actual jobs created by that investment will be just under 500. Compensation, 14.2 from those 344 jobs that I mentioned. And the output annually at that point, once it's built out, is 54.2 million. The revenues to government, local government is, or countywide government's just under $500,000 with these projects. And the problem that we have is that when we speak to investors outside of this region, we have been seen as a tertiary market. And so through COVID, through interest cost rate increases and supply run-ups, we've been kind of fighting to break through. But I believe with some of the projects we have that'll come out of the ground in the next quarter, other investors will take note. And you should know, and I hope you remember that in each successive deal, we back off of those incentives. And as this is seen as a viable place to invest, we can back off from that significantly and continue to work with the South Carolina Department of Commerce. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Toole. Anyone else?
No.
No. Well, you had your 5 minutes. That's the new, yeah, we got the new SOP, you have 5 minutes and you can't come back up and all that. Get us next time. All right, moving on, we have city manager's report.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. Every year, Governor of South Carolina awards a Police Officer of the Year award, which is administered through the Fraternal Order of Police. This year, one of our officers was not recognized by the Fraternal Order of Police and recognized by the governor as the official awardee. However, he lost out to another officer who was very deserving, saved the life of a young child at an automobile accident. But the Fraternal Order of Police was so impressed with Officer Bill Wadman that they decided to recognize him anyway with a duplicate award. And so we're very proud of this. This past Monday, the South Carolina FOP President John Blackman was with us at the police department, and he awarded the plaque to Officer Wadman primarily for his work on the Parents Against Drug program, which is a program in collaboration with local health and education organizations that empowers parents to recognize, prevent, and address youth opioid abuse. So we're very proud of Officer Wadman, and we applaud his efforts, and we also celebrate his recognition. We also want to congratulate a few employees on promotions. Casey Phelps was promoted to Firefighter 1. Sean Flomer was promoted to Master Sergeant in the police department, and Officer Aaron Rice was promoted to Patrolman 3. I don't think I need to remind anyone, but I will anyway because it's in my notes. We've got a water festival coming up, and we hope everybody participates, and we're going to try to hold the rain off till just after the water festival, but then we really need rain, so.
We got it tonight.
It's true, I heard it. On the 27th of July, our Human Resources Department, Human Resources Director Yvette and our technician Brian will be at a back-to-school expo at Battery Creek High School from 9 a.m. to noon, assisting with that. And lastly, but certainly not least, I want to remind everyone that this is the time when council will take a short summer sabbatical, what I'll call it. Our next meeting will be a quarterly capital projects workshop on August 20th. And that will be followed a week later by a work session and regular council meeting on August 27th. Any questions? Thank you.
There you go. Thank you. Okay, for the mayor's report, first of all, hope everyone had a wonderful Independence Day weekend. I also want to thank everybody for attending this evening, both the work session and the regular council meeting, and providing your input. As far as the meetings, I attended a Tiger meeting this past week, which is our downtown revitalization group. Also presented a mayoral proclamation for the retirement of Larry Mark of the Furniture Warehouse and Design Group, or FWDG, after 52 years for his contributions and service to the greater Beaufort community. I was also privileged to present on behalf of Shannon Erickson a South Carolina House of Representatives proclamation to Larry as well. Tomorrow I'll be attending a roundtable discussion with a Federal Reserve Bank representative that'll be held at Beaufort College tomorrow. Also participating in the opening ceremony of the Water Festival on Friday, and I'll be back for the parade on Saturday the 20th. I'll also be attending the TCL graduation ceremony this Friday morning in Bluffton, and also next week I'll be attending along with the other council members, save Mike McPhee, to the Municipal Association Annual Meeting in Greenville. So that's all I have. I'll start on my right with Councilman Mitchell.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Pardon my voice. I don't know what's going on. But I'll speak close to the mic, so hopefully everyone can hear me. I want to, again, talk a little bit about the process that brought us to where we are with the Point King Street Drainage Project. And just to remind everyone that, the neighborhood has worked very hard and certainly did their due diligence in letting us know their concerns. And I would like to share also that I know staff has, and speaking for myself, and I think true for council also, is that we've worked very hard to try to get to this point, to try to do what I would say, like Spike Lee would say, the right thing. And I certainly, this was a process that really occupied a lot of my time when I didn't think it would be, like lying in bed at night thinking about how best to proceed. So I would just like to say to everyone, in these situations, rarely does anyone know all the answers. And it certainly shouldn't be a case where it's win at all cost. We are thinking of the city, and I think the neighborhood is thinking of the city and what's best. And speaking as an individual, I can assure you that regardless of what you may think about what my input has been to the recommendations, that there's nothing selfish about this from Mitch Mitchell. So with that, I just want to thank everyone. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman McPhee.
I did want to mention at both at the LATS meeting and at the Northern Regional Planning Implementation Committee meeting, which was last Friday, we've been discussing the Northern Plan with reference to transportation. In the census for 2022, depending on what year you want to use, the northern portion of Beaufort County was designated as an urban center, and we now have the opportunity for federal funding for transportation systems. And we are currently engaged with the town of Port Royal through LOCOG and local area transportation study to analyze what a trolley route or what routes would happen within the city of Beaufort and the town of Port Royal and along St. Helena Island, Ladies Island, and so forth. So that process, I think Mr. Trask mentioned it earlier before he left, is already underway and already approved. And from that standpoint, I appreciate everybody's comments, and and all of the diligent work. I had no idea how many engineers we had in a neighborhood. It's amazing. But to that end, I appreciate everybody's interest and their responsibility and support. I do want to just say one thing from the standpoint of the secret ballot conversation, and I'm sorry that the two individuals that mentioned it are no longer here. But the combination of having 12 people that were vying for positions on a board was unprecedented. We have never had that many nominees for one, or candidates for two seats on a board. It was very difficult for council to make a decision, and we made, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, we made a decision that we would let the nomination occur in the public setting, and that is exactly what the ballots did. I voted for Mike Sutton and Michelle Prentice because I have longstanding responsibly said that the people that are serving on our commissions should be kept if they want to be kept, and they're still doing a good job for us. And I both believe that they were. That's the end of my report.
You.
So I will be brief tonight. I first just want to thank everybody that came out for both our work session and the regular session. I think that level of attendance and engagement really helps us as council determine what path is appropriate. And I think all in all, both meetings were successful to that end. So largely due to some of the feedback that we got from the community. And I appreciate not just comments made, but very thorough and educated comments to support their position as well. I think that helps. Sounds like me and Ms. Russell actually read a lot of the same studies. but I appreciate the great length that she went into describing how green infrastructure can impact our environment. And I learned a lot from that recap as well. So thankful for all of the engagement. I happened to come in the other day at just an opportune time to pick something up, and our representative from the Housing Trust was here providing some insight on some state funding opportunities that could help us fund affordable living. So we had a conversation in regards to how we now on our housing trust have, we're eligible participants for some of this funding that has been underutilized for several years at a state level. So hopefully with the seed money that we have in place, our partnerships throughout the region and our established housing trust, we can make some strides to better assist those who are struggling in our area, low income, and just provide some more affordable housing overall. On July 4th, I was fortunate enough to be able to take my family to the Sands, and I just want to shout out to Port Royal for a successful event. Even though it was high tide and the beach portion of it was blocked off, it was very crowded. It was still a very successful event, and they are always so hospitable to, for all visitors. And citizens who live here. It's just, I always have a great time in Port Royal, their events, whether it be the street festival or the 4th of July fireworks. And then lastly, I'll just say, I'm thankful that I got accepted into the Leadership Beaufort this year. That kicks off on August 14th. I know they had a lot more applicants than positions available. So I do count myself fortunate to be selected. I think they try to fill 32 spots, and I'm excited about an opportunity to better refine my leadership skills. One of the things that I really want to focus on is being able to better delegate responsibility. That's something as a leader I've struggled with in the past. And based on the thoughtful questions that I was asked in the interview process, I feel like the caliber for this Leadership Institute is very high. So I'm excited to start that, like I said, on August 14th. And then for the record, I think that there's enough information out there to be able to deduct who voted which way when it comes to the appointments that were made to the HRB. I voted for Kim Petrella and Mike Sutton, both in the nomination and the appointment process. And I feel like in some ways the media did us a disservice by not distinguishing the difference in between a nomination and an appointment. But regardless of that, it's our black eye to wear, and we'll do so. And hopefully we can be better moving forward. Our intent, I think, all along is to be transparent, and sometimes it may not come out that way. And in this case, maybe it's provided a perfect platform for some candidates to run for city council. But regardless, I do think that the overall intent for us is to be transparent and honest in our dealings. And so hopefully we can continue to make strides to do better in the future. Thanks.
First of all, congratulations, Josh, on Leadership Beaufort. You're going to love it. Great program. I mean, I just learned so much, and I've lived here my whole life. Also, as far as the vote, I voted also proudly for Kim and Mike, and I stand by it. During this time, I attended LCOG, Tiger Team with JJ and the mayor. Also, the mayor, Councilman McPhee, and I attended Change of Command at the Naval Hospital. Excuse me. No, I said you. Oh, I'm sorry. And the mayor, yeah, and the mayor. I thought I did say it. I'm
Y'all
sorry.
had the VIP seats. I was in the back.
It was in front of us. You didn't take it. Okay, and then First Friday, I know a number of us attended that. I know Councilman Scalati and we had dinner at one of the restaurants downtown. Then quick story, it could take a minute on this one. Back in December, I lost my mom. And we asked our son, what would you like us to get you? We told him we'd give him a cruise, my wife and I, whatever he wanted. He said he wanted a bench to remember her by. So through Beaufort Pride and Place, JJ and Scott, along with Nate and Linda, they made it happen. My son wrote the inscription for it, loving in memory of Lucille and Joe Lipsitz. May their kindness continue to inspire others. The bench is located on Bay Street, right next to where they lived at. It's in the Open Land Trust. They were kind enough to let us put it there. And please go visit if you get a chance. Very nice thing. So hopefully one day my son will get down here to see it. So with that, I want to make a motion, Mr. Mayor, that, excuse me one moment. No, pursuant to,
Oh, the executive. session.
yes, pursuant to Title 30, Chapter 4, Section 70A2 of the South Carolina Code Law discussion regarding contracts, leases, and agreements, we go into executive session.
Have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We're going into executive session.